Send share. Post to your profile. Share via email. Report story. This fact is so damn cute and I just felt like I needed to share it with you guys. Dot. I can't believe I'll get to see Sabo again so soon. Isn't this great, Nami? Just how lucky can we get? I told you that something good was gonna happen on this island. And now we can even contact the others and tell them exactly where we are. But first I'm gonna see Sabo. Then have a meal, and then we call the others. Luffy wouldn't shut up ever since they found out where they ended up, making Nami smile at his excitement. Wait a second there, he gasped, looking like he just discovered time travel. Does this mean I'm gonna finally meet my dad? He was the leader of this army, wasn't he? Man, I'm so excited. Actually, I met him once, but I didn't even know who he was back at that time, and I didn't even get to see his face. It was when I first met Smokey, too. Say, Koala, can I see him? Luffy finally stopped with his blabbering and looked at the orange-haired girl, waiting for an answer. I'm so sorry, Luffy, but Dragon-san isn't here and he'll be gone for about 2 more weeks, Koala said while opening a door leading to the stairs. But still, I can't believe I got to see you in person. She then smiled. Sabo talked so much about you the past 2 years, since his memory came back, that I feel like I've known you for a life. Of course he's been mentioning both Luffy and Ace every time he had the chance to, but Koala didn't want to bring their deceased brother into that conversation, especially when seeing Luffy so happy. This is it, she said while stopping in front of a double, wooden door. Let me just see if he's busy. Yo, Sabo. Luffy happily yelled after opening the door, not paying attention to poor Koala. The blond man took his head out of his papers and smiled so bright at the sight of his little brother that Koala thought she'd never seen him that happy before. Luffy already shortened the distance between them and wrapped his hands around his brother with a huge grin on his face. I'm so glad to see you, Sabo laughed while responding to the warm hug. Nami was smiling while tears formed in the corner of her eyes. She wiped them away before anyone could see and giggled for herself. Watching those two reminded her of Nojiko and Belmere, thing that brought back vivid memories, making her heart soak in nostalgia. Boy, Sabo, this looks just like our tree fort, Luffy pointed out with a weird look on his face. It could have been nostalgia, it could have been sadness or joy. Or maybe all of those. You couldn't tell. Yeah, Koala smiled. He arranged his office like this from the first, but he always said that he felt like something was missing. As soon as he got his memory back, he hung those on the wall, she said while pointing at the 3 red cups. Those, huh? Luffy said with a small smile, remaining quiet for a few seconds before he started shouting. AYNWAY, let's eat. Asterisk. Say, Luffy, how did you get here? Sabo asked as they made their way to the kitchen. Huh. Oh, I fell into the water during a huge storm and Nami jumped after me, but we were taken away by the currents and drifted to this island. He laughed. Those moments when they almost died seemed funny to him now, you dumbass. Nami yelled while hitting him. We almost died, you know. We were so lucky that we drifted to this island. Our chances of survival were so slight that it seems unreal that we're still alive. Don't talk like it's nothing, she said without knowing how much Luffy struggled to keep the both of them to the surface. He didn't allow himself to close his eyes before he felt the sand tickling his toes. Not like it mattered to him, anyway. All he cared about in that moment was the food that was waiting for him in the kitchen. Promoted stories. You'll also like The Cursed Pirate, 1 page. 10K180 asterisk. Asterisk. My story began when I was a young and naive, but that day, when everything seemed normal. That was the day, when everything. What's your choice going to be? Zoro x Tash, 46,937 with Tashigi getting left behind by the G5 due to the Joker sending too many ships for the G5 and the Strafuts to handle. They have to figure out a escape to get to TH. One Piece. The ultimate Strafuts. 3110 A martial artists, real not those wuxia types, reincarnates in One Piece, but all his memories about the show get erased due to his impertinence. But this isn't the same. A pirate with one punch. 44.2k 1.7 Kone. Piece XOPM. Reader. And quat. YN and quat. Degree. 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 Filled circle. Hollow circle. Degree. 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 Dream OpX Reader 76.2k 3.9 Queen. One looks back to their childhood, one remembers the vivid springs of laughter, climbing trees and reaching out for the stars, and making flower crowns in fields of. My One Piece Book 1 12.3k 280 Monkey. D. Luffy, a cheerful, carefree young man from East Blue wearing a straw hat, set sail on a small boat carrying the biggest dream of finding the One Piece. He's our Straw Hats, One Piece boyfriend scenarios 3.1k 50u. Know what this is? Smirk. We got bachelors Luffy, Zoro, Usopp, Sanji, and Ace. And LT. 3. I know Ace isn't a straw hat, but I still included him, but he'll be the only one I in. We're alive and safe now, aren't we? Luffy pouted while rubbing his head. So let's go eat and forget about it, he then said with a large grin on his face. Of course that food remains the only thing that occupies his mind, the orange-haired girl sighed, trying to hide the smile that, despite what she said, formed on her face. Asterisk. Luffy, slow down a little bit, will you? You'll choke at this rate, Nami giggled while watching her captain stuffing his mouth with nothing but meat. I don't care, I'm hungry, he'll eat up all your meat stock, she gave Sabo and Koala a guilty smile, somehow apologizing on her captain's behalf. It's fine, Sabo laughed. I was prepared for this anyway. Well then, Koala, can you help me call our crewmates? We've gotta let them know we're fine, after all, Nami said while standing up. She was about to leave and follow Koala, but was stopped by Luffy, who took her hand, making her blush. Don't go now. Luffy asked of her, still holding her hand. What's gotten into you? I have to call the others, the orange-haired girl said while trying to hide her blush. We can call them in a few minutes, can't we? Stay with us, he pouted, making Nami give in and sit back down. Despite her doing what the raven-haired boy wanted, he denied letting go of her hand even after she took back her sit. Sabo couldn't stop watching them. He had a sly smile on his face and was enjoying the little show more than anybody. That sure is nice, he giggled for himself. Even thought he almost didn't change at all in the course of these years. This is something new. Phew. Luffy said while tapping his stomach with one hand, as the other was still holding Nami's hand, who was desperately trying to calm her racing heart down and to hide her blush that spread all over her face. I'm stuffed. How curious, Sabo laughed while standing up. Well, let's go tell your friends where you are. Say. Luffy started while standing up and following his brother, now letting go of Nami. How many meals? We only eat thrice a day, Luffy, Sabo cut him off, already knowing what he wanted to say. But I can have the chef cook more for you, he then laughed. Same old Luffy, shishishi. Thanks. They were now in front of a double door which Koala pushed open. Wait a second, Luffy. Come with me, the girls can handle the phone call. I want to show you something. So, what did you want to show me? Luffy asked after a few minutes of silence. Nothing really, Sabo answered simply. I actually wanted to talk to you about something in particular, he then smirked. Then, what is it? Luffy was becoming more and more intrigued with every second that passed and he tried his best to act serious. It's about Nami. Sabo turned around with a smirk on his face. Luffy's heart started beating. What about Nami? Did Sabo not like her? The poor boy couldn't imagine what his brother was about to say. You love her, don't you? The blond man suddenly said, taking Luffy by surprise. Yeah, I do, he answered with a huge grin on his face, not hesitating a second. So that was all. He worried for no reason. Sabo started laughing, pulling his stomach with both of his hands. Not a single shred of embarrassment, as expected, he then said while tapping Luffy's head. Well, tell me about it later. For now, let's go talk with your crew. Shishishi. That's good, cause I've got things I wanna ask you. I'm new to this thing and I don't really know how I'm supposed to act. The raven-haired boy grinned, making Sabo smile, happy that he could be of help to his little brother at times like these. Say, Luffy, why don't you show me how far you can stretch? That was good, Luffy. You stretched farther than yesterday. You see, Ace. Sabo says I'm getting better at it. Don't you show me your tongue, you small fry. You've still got a long way to go. Now, try hitting the rock again. Aim lower this time. Both Luffy and Sabo smiled with nostalgia when remembering the good days the three of them spent together. We're gonna have to go outside for that. Luffy grinned. This hallway isn't nearly enough big. He then said, making Sabo smile. That means we trained you well. Shishishi. You sure did. Carrot carrot carrot. Yo. Luffy said while slamming the door to the wall. Did you call them yet? Yeah we did, but. Nami hesitated for a second before continuing. They can't come pick us up just yet. Why is that? The raven-haired boy tilted his head to the right. It seems that, the next day after the storm, Hancock and her crew found them and, after hearing the story, decided to help them look for us. The Revolutionary Army can't afford having a warlord here, no matter who she is to you. Those last few words were said with a slight trace of jealousy, even though the orange-haired girl stopped worrying so much about that woman. Oh, is that so? That sure is troublesome, Luffy said, somehow absent. Anyway, we have to come up with something and help the others come here alone. What if they just tell her that? No, Luffy, they can't tell her that we're here but ask of her nicely not to come. Nami cut him off. Ah, so that won't work, huh? He said with a disappointed look on his face. Damn, thinking is really hard, so you really considered that option. The orange-haired sweat dropped. She really didn't know why it surprised her. Anyway, I might have an idea, but I'm not sure if it'll work. Luffy, tell me exactly the kind of relationship you have with Hancock. She's my friend. She helped me a lot back then. First to get into Impel Down and then at Marineford she saved me a lot of times and even gave me the key to Ace's shackles. Then she let me stay on Amazon Lily until I woke up and even came to visit on Rusukaina and brought me delicious food. I see. So you're saying that she'll do anything that would help you, right? It seems so, although I can't think of a reason why she'd do that, Luffy said while playing with a mouse he had just caught. Can you be serious for a moment there? Nami, where did you want to get with this conversation? Sabo interrupted. Well, I'm thinking that you might have a few confiscated marine ships, right? Plenty. If you could send them to where the others are, it would look like the Marines are trying to catch the Straw Hats, and considering the fact that Hancock would probably do anything for Luffy, I hope she'll decide to stay and hold back the Marines and let our crew continue the search. This way. This way they'll be able to get here without the warlord following, Koala completed. That's a great idea, actually, then, it's settled. I'll give the order to get the ships ready. We just need the exact route your friends are taking right now so we could find them. Sabo said while getting out of the room. Koala, come with me, say, Nami. Luffy said while stretching his hands and reaching his navigator's side. He wrapped his hands around her shoulders and let his head rest on her chest. He was really tired. The sudden gesture he did made Nami's heart start beating faster and her face turn red. She couldn't even concentrate on the Den Den Mushi that was already dialing the ship's number. It was so weird, Luffy's behavior. He would always do things like these when alone with her and you'd think she had gotten used to it, but it felt like having a 10 times stronger impact on her every time. She had irreversible fallen in love with her captain and she knew it. Luffy, what are you doing? She then looked at the raven-haired boy who, she couldn't believe her eyes, was slightly blushing. He could feel her heart beating and he thought that it was the nicest feeling ever. I'm just tired, he tried to cover up for himself. He seemed like he wanted to say something more, but he was interrupted by Frankie's voice. Luffy, Nami, is that you? Yo, guys. Luffy said with a huge grin on his face, still not letting go of the orange-haired girl. We've got a plan. Late, I know. For some reason it's been really hard to write this chapter. Anyway, I hope you like it and I really want to thank you guys for reading this story. I love y'all blue heart and see ya next time. Equals greater than. Where stories live. Discover now.